evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. If you're watching this, that means you are tuned in at 6 on Friday for this wonderful third week of This Little Light of Mine, This Little Light podcast. This week episode is called When Church Forgets Community. This episode is close to my heart and is based off of my experiences and my observations of what I've seen um, in other people around the world. So this is something that I went through multiple times, not just literally with churches, but with church people, to where I felt outcasted and shunned and put aside and labeled the devil literally, told that I sold my soul and I've let darkness take over me, and all these other things. So, this isn't about bashing the church. Let me say that before I go any further. This is not about bashing anybody's church or anybody's religion or belief, because I believe that we are all allowed to believe whatever we want to believe, and nobody is more right or wrong than the next person. So, this is about having an honest conversation about how sometimes the focus shifts away from people and towards system and appearance or rules, control, right? Conformity, blindly following something that you may not entirely believe in. When that happens, real connection and healing gets lost. We miss out on the opportunity to really have a super personal relationship with the divine. First part is the original purpose of church. The church was meant to be a place of refuge, community, and healing, and it was supposed to be about coming together, lifting each other up, and growing together. Somewhere along the way, I feel like this has it falls short many times, and I'm not speaking to all churches either when I speak of this, or any one certain denomination or belief system. The early churches were built on sharing, supporting, and being there for one another. Think about the concepts like fellowship and actually breaking bread together and looking out for the most vulnerable people. It was less about a building and more about a people united by a common purpose of love, compassion, and truth. That is what I did not experience when I went to church. I didn't experience people united by a common purpose of love, compassion, and truth. I experienced a lot of hypocrites. But that's okay though. But somewhere along the way, things started to change. Sometimes churches get so caught up in maintaining structure, reputation, or power that they lose touch with the actual needs of the people. And it's not always direct. So let me speak in a different light. I was helped many times by many churches. I've been to many churches and got food from them. I've got clothes for the kids. There was a time before I had kids when I actually got a car because of somebody I went to church at church with a couple times. And there are great people in the churches. In the church, there are good churches, I know. But I also know that a lot of times things fall short whenever it comes to connecting to the community that the church is supposed to serve. If the building is there and the people are there and the community is lacking in areas and the church is aware of it, are they really doing what God wants them to do? Is my kind of direction with that. But a lot of times, whenever you don't conform to what everybody else believes, you're cast out or you're labeled the devil or whatever, because they don't understand your relationship and your perspective on what the divine is. The rejection is not direct. A lot of times it's indirect, right? Not because they tell you to leave, but because you just don't blindly go along with what they say. And then when you ask questions, that triggers a lot of people and they're not open to having an open-minded conversation. A lot of people are only trained to believe what they've been told to believe. And anytime they think outside of that, it's uncomfortable. So they go back to the lie or whatever they believe. When your beliefs or experiences don't fit the narrative, it's like you're silently pushed to the edge and made to feel like you're wrong or broken for seeing things differently. There's this underlying message often that if you don't agree or conform, then you do not belong and you're wrong. Or worse, you're made to feel like you should be afraid. You're afraid of hell. You're afraid of being wrong, of judgment, of a spiritual consequence or something. So that fear made me doubt my own connection to the divine for a long time. It made me question it. It's like the whole time I was following that, there was a lot that really resonated with my spirit and told me, this is the way, Jeff, this is the way, this is the way. But then when I would have these things that didn't feel like the way or didn't sit right with me, and I would question that, I was made to feel like I was wrong for questioning and feeling the way I felt. So it made me question my relationship with God and wonder, is it even real? But life and God showed me that it is absolutely real and I'm not wrong. The fear makes you doubt your connection to the divine. It's like your own personal relationship with God. The universe is constantly being filtered through someone else's expectations or rules. I truly believe that religion is an experience. Your relationship is based on an experience that somebody else tells you you have to have. When you free yourself from calling yourself religious or Christian or anything else, when I did, I still have that foundation of a relationship with Christ, but I don't see it the same way I did before. It's a lot better now. It's stronger. It's pure. It's real. I know it's something that I don't have to worry about. It's intangible. I can't hold it in my hands, and I can't ever put it into words and let you truly see what I'm saying. But that's why I'm trying to do this right here. And whenever people are cast out, whenever people are made to feel like this, that, oh, I shouldn't be asking questions, I shouldn't feel the way I do, it makes people not want to open their heart to God. It makes people not want to work with the community. It makes people selfish, and it makes people closed up and hateful, because they don't love themselves, because they don't know themselves. But once you become to know yourself, and you know that you are God in the flesh, and you know that Christ is always with you in your mind, in your heart, you can always come home to God. You're always home at God. Anything else is when you're out of alignment and you feel off. And that's when we're not walking upright perfectly as we should be. And it's not perfect, because it's imperfect too. But I'm saying, when you're in alignment, that's a better way to put it. Not perfect. That's super wrong. When I'm in alignment with God, I don't need a book or somebody outside of church, or a church, or somebody outside of me to tell me what God is. I have my own relationship. And because I do, this bothers some people. But I do believe that we can come back. We can come back to build a community stronger, not just with churches, with atheists, with everybody. I believe we can all do this. And what it's going to take is us to accept that there's other people who have different ways of connecting to God, or the universe, or source, or creator, or spirit, or whatever you want to call it, connecting to themselves. The truth is, though, like I said, it's about a relationship with the divine. It's a relationship. Nobody can define to you or dictate to you what your relationship should look like, should feel like, should sound like. That's not what having a relationship is. When was the last time a marriage ever worked because a third party that wasn't in the marriage told them two folks what to do? It's not about checking off boxes or meeting their standards. Like, I don't have to live up to what any church or anybody thinks of me for God to love me and for me to know God and to know who I am. It's about a direct and very personal connection that I'll never try to explain to everybody or anybody completely. Like, I'll do this, and what I do is as far as I go, but there's a lot of things and a lot of ways that I keep things personal, because it's very personal to me, and I keep it close to my heart. For different reasons, because I'm guided to, and also because people ruin good things sometimes. No one else can dictate what this relationship looks like to me. No one else has the right to tell me what my experience is invalid because it doesn't fit their narrative. The divine meets us where we are, not where someone says we should be or where we pretend to be. And when we forget that, we end up chasing someone else's version of truth instead of discovering our own. I believe a real community should encourage and nurture this relationship, not control it or twist it into something that serves someone else's agenda. Like this pastor talking about close the doors. This is a perfect example of what I'm saying when church forgets the community. This man is so lost in his mind that he believes that this is a way that God put him on earth to get money, threaten to close the doors or whatever. It's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. This is the type of people that make people not want to go to church, and make people not believe in the religion, and they don't believe in their connection to God, because they see people scamming like this, right? God didn't send you to do that, bro. You're wrong for that. But it's okay, because we all have a role to play, and we all we reap what we sow. So it is what it is. We can rebuild community through authenticity, acceptance, and honoring each person's unique connection to the divine. Everybody has a unique connection. Whether everybody knows it or not is a different story, but everybody has one. We all do. But the main thing, I think, is acceptance, because that's where the rubber meets the road of, I see you're different than me. You don't believe what I believe, but I still believe God loves you and has you believing what you're believing. You're at where you are for whatever reason, right? And it's not my place to judge or tell you how you should be living your life. Anyone who tells someone else they're on the wrong path is probably not even on their own path. You can't tell somebody else how to walk their life. That's not how life works. And I've had people like that before come across, and sometimes you question yourself and you're like, damn, is this true? Should I be questioning? And then you realize that this person's putting something in your ear that they're just recycling, that they've heard from somebody else. Now they're projecting this crazy thing into your mind and making you insecure and feel fear and afraid, right? You're going to burn. You're going to burn forever. Hell isn't real either. Let me throw that in before I close. Hell is not real. Here, oh my bad. Follow us on Facebook and YouTube. This Little Light Podcast that's it. I don't have an IG. I'm not doing that right now, and I'm not doing TikTok right now. I'm just focusing like I'm doing and just enjoying these flow states of me connecting with these topics and my energy and giving it to the world like this. So for this week, I want you guys to share your stories, share your thoughts, share your experiences. How have you been made to feel when it comes to going to church? And I don't mean bad. If you've been included and have a wonderful church, I want to hear those stories too. I want to hear it all. I want to hear what's the good and what's the bad and the indifferent. Do you go to church? Do you feel welcome? Do you feel like it's a community? Do you feel like your church gives back to the community? But I do feel like there's more that we can do as a community to come together and help these people, help our neighbors in need. Sometimes we're the person in need, but financially, I don't think churches are responsible for that. But I do believe that they could do more. And one I am going to name drop. I'm not going to keep it G. Actually, this is keeping it G all the way. The amount of money that these preachers like this get is ridiculous. Now, everybody sees this differently, and you're entitled to your opinion. If you want to have an open, respectful conversation about this, let me know. We could talk. But I don't think any pastor should have hundreds of millions of dollars, and there should be homeless people sleeping at the door of his church. Mega church. It's not just a little baby church. This ain't a hole in the wall church. But anyways, look, and I opened my tarot deck to the devil. That's wild. Wild little synchronicity, I guess. Maybe it's a coincidence. And then the Emperor. Wild's life. Anyways, I want to hear your story. That's the call to action. Somebody tap in, whether it be in comments in here on YouTube or wherever you see this at later on down the line, if it ends up in other places. I want to build something real. I want to hear about people, how you're building your connection to the divine, how you built your connection to the divine, I want to hear it. I want to hear about your community. I want to hear about all the good things that's related to this topic. So share your story with me, with us, and let's chop it up. I've got so much more stories. Before I go, one important one. I have healed my witch wound, and a witch wound is whenever you were persecuted in a past life for knowing divine things, and you were killed for it. And it's happened a few times, but there's one that was more powerful in my soul and in my mind that I feel more than the others. And I know that that's a part of me speaking up like this in this life, because I've been labeled a witch. I've been labeled the devil. I've been labeled Satan. I've been told that I sold my soul to the darkness and I won't ever be able to get it back. These are quotes people have told me from people who I care about. What I'm saying is, I know that there's a reason why I'm connected in the way that I am, and I know my relationship is the way it is, and I know that there's people who soak up the game. People pick up keys. Even if you only pick up one thing from an episode of this podcast, I've done my job. If it only helps one person, I've done my job. That's what I came to earth for, was to help people. And so before I was able to ever do that, before I realized I was even doing helping people, I started helping myself, and I was inspiring people by leading by example, by doing what I had to do in order to take care of me. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for tuning into these little rambles. Eventually, this podcast will turn into something huge. But right now, this is just me, practicing, getting ready for it, right? And I appreciate the ones who are supporting that I don't see, the ones who I do see. This is This Little Light podcast. Every Friday at 6, I'm going to drop a random video like this. If you would like to, give me a follow, give me a share, comment, drop an emoji. Next week, I'm going to talk about the paradox of creation and the balance between surrender and manifestation, because it's a weird little juggling act you got to do. But I am Jeff All Year. This is This Little Light podcast. This is week 3, when the church forgets the community. Let me know any other areas where the church has forgotten the community, or your story, or just tell me a joke, share a song, share your light with me, however that looks. I appreciate you. I love you. Next week, I will see y'all at 6. Stay blessed.